This 26 Sports and CCTV high school basketball presentation is presented by Cadillac Casting Incorporated.
And welcome back to Cadillac High School. Jay Simon and Ryan Biller post-game show here where the Mount Pleasant Oilers have defeated the Cadillac Vikings 58-51 in the regular season finale for both teams. And Ryan, it started out, we kind of expected it was a bit of a contrast of styles. Both teams played tremendous defense, especially on-ball defense, jumping passing lanes. They just do a really good job. But the contrast in styles, the three-point shooting of Cadillac versus the rim attacking and mid-range game of the Oilers was kind of what we saw in the first half. But boy, that script got flipped in the second half as the Oilers knocked down 6 threes in the second half to really kind of pull away late.
Yeah, it was odd the way it flipped like that after the halftime. And Mount Pleasant came out with a lot more energy in that second half. Cadillac, they experienced a couple of rim balls that rimmed out. Unfortunate shots that didn't fall for them. A turnover here and there, and a couple of big made shots by several of the Mount Pleasant ball players down the stretch kind of pulled it away.
13 three-pointers made in this game, 7 by the Vikings and 6 by the Oilers. But the Vikings, 5 of those came in the first half when they only had a 1-point lead, 29-28. And unfortunately, it was the Oilers that got hot in the second half. So Cadillac's 3-game winning streak comes to an end. And now they will get ready for Manistee next week on Wednesday, I believe. Unless that's I don't want to say. I don't know. Make sure you check it out on MHSAA.com. You can find out when they're playing. And
I still think that Cadillac had a lot of positive things to come away with this game.
Absolutely.
They shot the ball well. I thought they moved the ball very well, passing the ball, sharing the ball. There was really a good team movement, team balance of the floor. They just really the ball just didn't drop for them a couple of times, to be honest with you. And they had opportunities there, and just a little bit more focus and a little bit concentration on the angles and release. And really, the Oilers got hot at the right time. I mean, those 6 threes were hit by 2 kids, Joseph Ostrowski and Peyton Fountain. Both hit 3 threes in the second half. Fountain hit 2. One of those was a fadeaway from the corner, and Ostrowski hit one from about 25 feet. So both defended well. Both had hands in their faces, and they just knocked them down. And all you can do at that point is give a dap, as the kids would say, and say congratulations, right? Yeah. I mean, it's all about making big plays at that point, and it was a close game the whole way. And Mount Pleasant made better shots that were in bigger moments to be able to create that space. And they closed it out from the line. They went 6 of 8 from the free throw line in the final quarter. Run down the scoring for you. For the Vikings, they were led by Keegan Brooks, who had 15 points, all in the first and third quarters. He had 10 in the opening quarter and 5 in the third. Knocked down 3 triples himself. Cooper Benson and Tip Baker both had 10 apiece. Vinny Genema finishes with 9. Aiden Raphael finishes with 3. And then Jacob Kahani and Maddox Hoagland each had a bucket to round out the scoring for the Vikings, who were 4 of 5 from the line. Did not shoot a free throw in the fourth quarter. Meanwhile, for the Oilers, they get 3 in double figures as well. Joseph Ostrowski and Peyton Fountain both finished with 15 points. Mason Watusik finishes with 12. Tyler Hunneman finishes with 8 all in the first half. Jackson Ostrowski finishes with 7. And then Ezekiel Barnett had a free throw in the final quarter to round out the scoring for Mount Pleasant, who go 10 of 15 from the free throw line on the night. So the Oilers finished the season 15-4. They had one game that they did not complete, I'm assuming. I don't think that's going to get made up. The Vikings fall to 13-7, and that's how they'll finish the season. As we mentioned, they'll take on Manistee to open up their district. That's a very winnable district for the Vikings. They did lose to Ludington, who's in that district earlier in the season, but I was talking to Jeff Brooks, Keegan Brooks' dad, earlier, and he said they were in that game with Ludington. They led by 8 late, and or at one point in that game, and ended up losing by 10, but Tip Baker was out with an injury, and I think it's a little different Vikings team, so that's going to be interesting to see them going forward. Yeah, I mean, they came out tonight playing pretty hard and things. In the tournament, let's face it, anything can happen. And a lot of times both teams will be playing hard every game in the tournament, and it usually is a span of about 1 or 2 plays that tip the scale. And but they got to they'll be prepared. Coach Benzenberg will have them ready to go, and they'll have familiar foes that they play, and it's always hard to beat teams second or third time. So
that's a cliche, Ryan.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. That's what I end on. That's all I got.
Sorry. I say it all the time, too, and I'm always told it's a cliche. Oh, man. Well, that's a great way to finish. That's going to do
it. It's a truth, though.
To an extent, it can be. Absolutely.
Difficult to do that.
There's always a little kernel of truth to cliches, right? Hey, we need to thank the hardest working crew in television. Katie McClung, Brandon Fry, and Wyatt Van Dynen on the cameras. Gabby Long in the truck on the graphics. And Heather Stilson keeping this whole show together, basically babysitting these kids and making sure they're doing their jobs well. And they do, bringing you these high-definition images here on My News 26 and CCTV. Thank you so much, folks, for being with us all season long. We appreciate you tuning in, and we're grateful for this opportunity to do this for these kids in northern Michigan, bringing you these games. Our thanks as well to the Cadillac High School staff, including Mrs. Biller, principal, and Jennifer Brown, superintendent. We appreciate their allowing us to set up and run all these cables and do this stuff from Cadillac High School. Very grateful for the opportunity to be able to do this. Of course, we also want to thank Napa Auto Parts, Pizza Plus, and Cadillac Tire for their support of these broadcasts. And most importantly, our presenting sponsor, Cadillac Casting Incorporated. Literally could not do this without them. You got to have electricity and all that. Got to have equipment. And we are very grateful for them. For Ryan Biller, I'm Jay Simon. Thanks for joining us, folks. The Mount Pleasant Oilers 58, Cadillac Vikings 51. This has been a presentation of boys non-conference basketball action on My News 26 and CCTV. We'll see you next time.